I can hear that giggle.
Okay, all right, we're gonna call it good enough for now.
Okay, so we have got everybody, so we're ready to start. Okay, so we need to approve last week's meeting notes. Of course, I don't know where they're right in front of me.
So you need a first and you need a second.
Okay,
Can I
Yep.
make a motion to approve?
oh, I
June
can't hear
13th
anybody, so
The June
of
13th. minutes?
approving the notes.
No one's speaking yet, that's why.
Oh, that's that's a good reason.
Did that count?
Are you on, Kat?
Yes,
Oh, Kat's speaking. Okay, so Kat, did you say first that you motioned?
I make a motion. Yep, I did.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, cool. You guys all approve?
Yeah,
Right
Yeah.
on.
Woo, there we go.
Okay. Let me pull the agenda up. Are you getting it?
Yeah, I'm working on it. Just not very fast right now.
So, well, yeah, we got the wine walks is the first, so if you want to go through your.
Yes, I will.
Your
I
stack.
certainly will. So that means I'm reviewing this or,
Yep, you can review the, did everyone get the income and expense that I sent out for the wine walk?
I'm gonna screen share it too.
Yes, I got it.
Oh,
Right.
first, I just want to interject here for 1 second. We have a guest. His name is Mark Delman. Hi, Mark. Mark is currently a Snoqualmie Ridge resident, building a home in Ernie's Grove, he told me, and just wanted to sit in on our meeting and see what we're all about. So are you cool with just following along, Mark? Okay, all right. Okay, so carry on, Sally.
Sorry,
Or
Mark,
Michelle.
you're muted, just so you know. So if you wanted to interject, we couldn't hear you.
so the wine walk was pretty uneventful as far as, wonderful. As far as big issues, but the bottom line says a lot. You can see that we had about 70% of people were pre-registered online to attend, and 36 people ended up getting it at the door. The totals, do I do the totals? The number of pre-registered transactions was 122, 36 of, at the door registration, with a total of 158 participants.
May I ask a question?
Yes,
Okay, in it, what does so you have 122 number of pre-registered online, and then next door it says number of pre-registered transactions. And typically that number is not the same. So did everybody who pre-registered actually show up?
evidently, yes.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. Because yeah, typically it's not the same number because I was looking at past ones. So
Right.
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and everybody seemed to be, not just, they didn't seem just to show up. Even the ones at the door, they had planned this ahead of time, and it was like there were no accidental guests. Let's put it that way.
We had a couple on our side where they said they had just walked up and they didn't realize it was happening.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I was talking to people in the middle down toward Carousel, so it was pretty interesting to find that out. We had 2 musicians, each as single, and they were one group, the person near the gallery, somebody said, could you please turn your mic up a little bit? And so they wanted more volume. He didn't get really loud, but as soon as he got a little bit louder, he was a little more popular because people could figure out he was there. Because you really don't, there's no special big lights or anything around the canopies, and so that really made a difference. The totals, we had $2,958 and 50 cents for online registration at $25 each. At the door is $30 each for $1,048 and 32 cents. The city payment for gallery collective services and what is $400 merchant reimbursement for the liquor cannabis board permits was $300. So the payment to the wineries for their tokens was $546.50. Paid $400 out to the musicians, nothing out to the artists because they don't get paid until the end of the last walk in August. The payment for the license at $60 per permit is $360. Payment for the event liability insurance is $796.17. And I was
Now, that one increased by 200% from last year. So why did our liability insurance, because I'm looking at last year's and we were running around $260. And I'm looking at both the July and the August ones, and they were both $262, and now we're at $796. Did we get a breakdown of why our liability insurance jumped up by that much?
I don't have last year's records, and I don't know how we get that. I do know how to get that. I just have to ask that person with all of our.
Yes, we have, we just have to pull them up.
We just have to pull them out.
Yeah, I was just curious. I mean, and wondering if we're being overcharged or something like that. Or maybe we were undercharged in prior years, but yeah, it's a pretty significant
Right.
jump in liability insurance. So it's just curious.
Right. I think that's a good question.
It doesn't seem to be driven by the number of permits that we use, because those were all at 6 too. So
Exactly.
Who did we use for liability insurance?
Repeat that, please.
Who did we use for liability insurance?
I don't have that in front of me. So, but it was somebody that they had used before.
Yes.
Can someone send it to us, please?
that's juicy. It's a juicy jump up.
Okay, the liability insurance. That is strange. Something I do know about the liability insurance that was made clear to me today is that liability insurance does not cover automobiles. So if any of us are taking things around in our automobiles for this event, then there is no insurance in our coverage that will cover any damage done to your vehicle or to you if you are moving things with your vehicle. The city got us our carts so that we would not have to have the extra automobile coverage, and I guess we're expected to use those carts. And
Well, that's not going to be possible to put out the A boards out on the parkway. You have to put them in your vehicle. 'Cause they're big.
exactly,
They're
right.
big. And what about our own insurance? I mean,
And
we all have automobile insurance.
Yeah, I mean, I would think your own insurance would cover anything.
right. Yeah, and that was my question also, Kat. So, I think that it's just something that, this is part of something that's under the event liability.
Yeah, it'd be good to find out. That's a 300% increase. That's pretty, I mean, I know insurance costs go up, but that's a lot.
It certainly is.
I would challenge a 300% increase on anything, by the way.
Good plan. Good plan. The gallery income subtotal was $2,604.15, other than wine bottle sales. And the merchants each had the wineries, and the tokens collected there are listed at the bottom. Let's see, the starting red, like from the end of, from King Street down, Carousel collected 210.
It's, you know, it's okay. We don't have to go through all the tokens collected.
Okay, that's
'Cause
good.
we're limited on time, I know, for tonight.
All right, that sounds good.
Because I feel like we've all got it when we can, you blew it up nice and big for us.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Oh, good. You're
Um,
like, I don't want to read it anymore.
I have a question that has come up recently that involves the wine walk. Can I cover that now? We have a merchant at Lovebug Pets whose name is Phyllis.
Phyllis,
Yes, Phyllis at Lovebug Pets.
I know Phyllis.
And she spoke to Cece and sent Cece, and actually sent Cece an email that Cece Williams kicked to me. And she's telling me that she would like to put a table out to hand out free things from her shop to celebrate her 5th anniversary for being in business here in Snoqualmie. And she'd like that to happen on July 29th. She'd like a table then. And then on August 26th, she would like to have a jazz band who might have her brother-in-law in it, performing in front of her store, not on the sidewalk on Railroad Avenue, but back in, she's right next to Katsi, Oaxaca. And so she said in her email that she contacted somebody for the city.
I talked to her.
You did.
I mean, I emailed her. I didn't know about the table. I would say it's her, outside her business, kind of her property. If she wants to do that, I would say, you're saying no, Dylan?
It's not all her property.
Not all her property, but would it be,
The
I don't think it's a
landlord could.
I don't think it's a problem for the wine walk, though, if she wants to do it, to partake
For
in
the
some of the
table.
foot traffic.
Right.
And then the band, I told her, as long as it was on private property, so she'd have to work with her landlord, but as long as it was private property, she didn't have a tent and she followed the noise ordinances, that I wouldn't make her do a special event permit.
If it's attached to this. Okay, agreed.
You agree?
That's fine.
Because she wouldn't be doing it as part of the wine walk per se. I think she's putting it out there as an enhancement, but I would say it's separate from the wine walk, so I wouldn't link the two.
And the issue that I have with that, and I did talk to Sally Rackets, is that we're paying for a solo female vocalist that will be sitting in front of Carousel, and a jazz band might have a sound
I think it's
influence.
far enough away. Yeah, I think it would be far enough away. 'Cause it's a couple blocks.
A couple of buildings to be Carousel.
Yes.
It's only a couple of buildings because it's just Bindle. State.
Yeah, I know where they're both at. I feel like it's far enough away, and if it's on her own property, I mean, we're not gonna advertise her. We're not gonna put them on any type of advertising or anything like that,
That's correct.
right?
That's true.
And if she chooses to do it on that date, we can't really stop her.
Well, the special event permit, I think we have the ability to limit overuse of special event permits, but
Yeah. So
so
I
far
don't,
as
I
we
don't
would be
know.
interested.
I guess I feel like the more activity we have around, the better for us as a wine walk,
That's a
But
valid,
that's,
that's a valid point.
you
yeah.
know, but that's just my thoughts. I mean,
Okay. Kat, do you have any opinion?
My only concern was in reviewing the email was that she did, Phyllis mentioned that the band would have amplifiers. So it's not like it's just somebody playing a guitar out there. It's that they will have
Is
an
this-
amplifier.
is this an email that went to all of us?
No. No,
Okay.
because it just came into me today, this morning. I got it this morning. So,
So that would be my, and I realize Bindle Stick will put up a bit of a physical barrier.
And doesn't
So-
Bindle Stick usually do a band in their back area?
mm,
Because they did last time. They had a
They
band
did,
back
they
there.
did last, I wasn't sure if it was them or the brewery that had.
No, it was the Bindle Stick. They have a stage and they
Right.
often have bands out there on
Yes.
Fridays.
but they have a whole building to muffle the sound. I noticed that this on June 24th.
Well, what if they were given permission but not to amplify? I mean, I think I think a jazz group, when you're walking by, is good sound.
Right.
And
I
so
agree.
if you walked by, you could still enjoy the jazz, but then it wouldn't overtake the
Yeah.
solo.
That's what I was thinking too. I mean, amplifiers is like, that's a little much, but having more activity, I think for the merchants is great and for the walk and.
And I agree too that it would be good public base to be warm to the merchants, because that's exactly who's supporting all of us for this. I like the non-amplification.
I
Because
also sort of feel, oh,
I did ask, I specified how many members, or if I could get the name of the group so I could look it up on their website and find out how many people we're talking about. And she did not specify that answer when she sent an email later today. So, but she answered pretty quickly.
Nicole Hanson, how are you okay with that too? With the thought of just the non-amplification?
all I was gonna say is it sort of feels like this email is a courtesy to us. It doesn't really feel like necessarily we have the right to grant or not grant someone permission to do these types of things in front of their business. I think the city maybe does, but I think my gut feeling is just thank you to this business owner to say, one, that we're supporting your event by doing it at the same time. Two, we're letting you know, does this coincide? Like the idea that we would consider saying no doesn't really jive with me. So
It
yeah.
doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right at all. And I don't even know if limiting amplification is a requirement of mine. It might be more like, what is appropriate for the city? What are the rules of the city for a business owner? If she can participate as part of our event license, that would be, or permit, that's totally fine with me. And we could say, you know, if the amplification is so loud, we can't hear the singer or something else, you know, that would kind of be uncool, you know, but it feels like in a collaborative effort, that sounds really like a kindness that she was just letting us know. But
I would agree with that if I didn't understand that this band was Sally Rackets was asked if this band could be considered after all the bands were already notified and had already been found. And Sally said, it can't happen this year because we've already established our bands and we've notified everyone who's going to
But we're not paying,
She's not, yeah,
we're
she's
not
not
paying
asking
for the
for that.
band.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
She's
they're
not
not
paying
asking
for the band.
That isn't,
That's fine.
we understand that.
Yeah.
Cora.
So we can't not let them do that. I mean, I have to agree with Nicole and Donna on that is, because we just went through this morning at the Snoqualmie Days meeting where last year Oaxaca's had a DJ that nobody knew about. And so that actually did interfere with the music that was proposed. And so it's, kind of being proactive about those things. And yes, she came forward at least ahead of the event
I see
to-
that.
to say that. And again, what they do on private property, I mean, if worse comes to worse, I think we could either, one, ask them to turn it down a notch, or two, move the solo singer around the corner even at Carousel. Sorry, that's my Dalmatian is howling at the fire truck.
That was
I was
hysterical.
thinking,
It was
what
like,
is that thingy? Donna, is that your dog?
Sorry.
Yeah, the fire engine just went by. She's singing the song of her people.
Exactly. She says that it's the same, she's supporting the whole idea that music can
You have
happen
your
at
own-
any time.
Your own
If you're in
fan
your
club
own
behind you,
property.
Cat. That's freaking hilarious.
Oh, too funny.
Well,
Okay.
to wrap this up, I mean, I think a courtesy message of thank you so much for letting us know. I'm excited for you, 5 years in business when, a lot of small businesses went out during the pandemic. Good for her being able to
Right,
sustain.
exactly. So I did congratulate her on that.
And then just a little note of, if possible, could your band not be amplified? We're going to have other singers in the event. And that way, we're all sharing within the music, so I think that's all that we really need to provide. I mean, good for her, 5 years, man. That's awesome.
That's right. Right.
That's my opinion. I mean, I'm with you, Kat and Nicole. Like, let's just be grateful that they reached out and, and said, hey, this is what my plans are. What do you think?
Okay.
More the merrier.
Think then that's a go then. We're good with that.
Okay, so what I would also probably say that I could ask them if after they performed, if they thought that they had a good audience or whatever, and might they want to be considered
Sure.
for next year.
Yeah, I mean, you might end up with a resource of another musician.
Mhm.
How great would that be for us?
Right. I like that thinking.
So anything else on the wine walks from anybody? Any comments? Good, bad, otherwise?
I actually had feedback from people who participated,
Mhm.
and it's something not for this year, but possibly for next year, that we really give way too many tokens. Interesting enough, people are showing up with tokens from prior wine walks going, oh, I still have 4 left over from the last one. So I don't know, we might want to start thinking about we give 10, which I've had the pours. They're pretty juicy pours. I mean, they're not your standard 1 ounce pours. They're like
Yeah, they
2
are.
ounces, 2.5 ounces. So what we're typically giving people is if you think a glass of wine is 4 ounces, that's a normal glass of wine. We're giving people 5 glasses of wine.
Exactly. You're absolutely
And-
right about that. And
Yeah, so I mean, it's just something to put down as feedback, because I had couples that were just buying one because they were going to share the tokens and share the pours. So it's just a thought that we might want to think about next year, maybe managing that a bit better. The second feedback was people could not identify what the locations were. And I realized that we write it on the thing and we tell them, here's where they are. But
Yes.
and we even had the little signs, but possibly putting balloons tied to the merchant, and we can just say, follow the blue balloons. Any place
They
has
were.
or
We had-
something.
We did have the red balloons tied to the smaller art signs outside of the businesses.
Okay, so it was.
But it was
people-
like one single balloon. It was one single balloon, and that's what we, Charlene and I were telling him was, hey, just look for the red balloons.
Look for the
As
red
well as
balloon.
pointing out the list on the back of the token envelope, yeah.
I know, the funniest thing is like, you give them the token and you even say it's in this order, and all you, some people came back and they were like, we couldn't find the locations. I'm like, I don't know.
And that seems to be an issue every year, whether we put the
Right?
stars, whether, yeah.
So I didn't know if we needed to put more balloons or tie them to the merchant doors, because they clearly are missing like everything. But anyway, that was just a little bit of feedback,
Wine
was
glass.
tokens that we might want to
wine
think
glasses.
about. We're giving
Donna,
people
is it
5
those-
glasses of wine.
Is it those people that are drinking their 10 tokens worth? Of
I think you might be right. I think you might be right there.
So my idea is to have our logo, which is that wine glass with a splash, and have it larger. And so maybe we can put it right over the merchant store or next to the merchant store or something, so that if they're hunting for doors and they're not paying attention to that little,
The sandwich board.
the sandwich board on the side of the road, maybe they'll recognize a wine glass when they see it.
Well,
And
you'd like to hope.
That is true.
maybe we need little,
Maybe we just chalk on their sidewalk right outside, wine with an arrow.
yes, I love that. I
You know,
love that.
maybe there's something where we do some kind of artwork, chalk work, and it'd be like, follow the thing. When you see chalk work, go in that store. And yeah, you're gonna find some wine, or
We
like
could
a wine glass.
we could do
chalk,
Yeah, we could do footprints going,
or something. I don't know.
wine glasses, follow
You
the
want it to be
wine
wine glasses.
glasses.
I'm
I
not
would love to
chalking
do
them
that.
though. I'm really not gonna do that though. I'm gonna be square on that. It's not gonna look like a footprint. It's not- Donna, you made little aliens. Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good idea. That's a fun one.
That'd be cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Anything else?
We ran out of supplies down in our little area where we were checking people in, and we ran out of glasses. And so I think maybe we've got one coming up in a couple weeks here. We're, because I think one section was just pre-registered period, and then the other one was pre-registered and people who had like checking in that day afternoon. And we like, it was 7:15, Nicole, keep me honest here. I think it was like 7:15. We were down to like 20 glasses.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's not going to happen this time because we're going to pre-count the glasses. I can tell you, one of the issues is that where the registration was, is that real estate office of Elkers,
Angle and Volkers.
The real estate
Thank you.
office.
The
Ingalls
real
and
estate
Volkers.
office is what I, yes. real
Yes.
estate office.
In there, they did not open on time, and so they're going to be asked to open an hour earlier on this next wine walk.
What do you
And so
mean?
that we will have enough time to put the glasses and
Oh,
and
they,
all the supplies in that office in time.
okay. So
So
they
that's-
opened up at
That's why
6.
you, yes, excuse me?
They opened up at 6.
They
They were
opened up close, I think, close at 5:35 or 5:40.
Yeah, they were there a half an hour in advance, and at least because I was there waiting for them, and we ran out of tokens probably within the first 10 or 15 minutes.
We didn't have time, we
Can I
didn't
finish?
have time to count. There
Michelle,
was no
can I-
time to put what should have been counted.
So
And
why don't we count? Why don't we just have our supplies ready? I'm just curious.
I think we normally have, I think with everybody being new and it just Michelle's first time, we've had Cece, everyone in the gallery more involved. Something that Sally did single-handedly for 10, 12, 15 years on her own, now has been split between 4 or 5 people. So I think it's a learning process. So I think they all spoke about it and got, kind of came up with a solution to get that resolved. The other
great.
thing with the two is, in the past, we've had the wine glasses in the art gallery in the back storage room. And they've all been put into the library. So we'll have a stash of those in the gallery. And that's where we used to run if we needed extras.
That's where I went first, and I was like,
There was nothing there. Yeah.
there was nothing there. I was like, okay, well, I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah, so I think they've got it resolved, but yeah, I think it's just the first year with everybody being new and working together.
And Sally Mayo was not there.
That's the whole reason, yeah.
No, not the whole reason, but she could have filled in a hole for us when we didn't have the history to fill in that hole.
It'll get better.
It will get
I
better.
mean, it was, at least it wasn't raining and, 60 degrees.
I love that. At
I
least it
mean,
wasn't, yeah. But we did-
come on.
yeah, and since we have only 200 is our limit, we do have 200 in all of those wristbands. So we can't let any more than 200 wristbands go out. So
Yeah, I'm looking at past ones. We've not gotten close to the 200 limit.
exactly.
Yeah, so
We
we're
did
usually
one-
pretty good.
yeah.
But unfortunately, when you have two locations though, you don't know which one, is gonna end up with more people showing up.
So exactly. And so what we're trying to do is put 3 people on each registration desk, the pre and the registration desk. And one of those will be the one person who will call the other person at the other registration desk. So there'll only be one person talking to one person regarding the supply amount. So we don't have to have everybody calling and everybody being notified and everybody calling all at once. And we'll have it so that one of those people will have that assignment of being the one who answers the call, or to know we're sending someone down to pick up a few more of whatever we need.
I think Nicole Hansen has a question on that.
Yep, Nicole?
So
Oh, where are you?
we can set an inventory limit within the POS system. It's just like a store POS, so that if you have 5 shirts, you don't just hope that that the 5 shirts run out of the store between your online ordering and people in the store. Your system is limited to sell 5 shirts. And if 5 shirts get rung up, it says 0. You can't ring up anymore. So
Exactly.
we don't have to have just 200 wristbands or just 200 glasses running back and forth. We could have extra wristbands and extra glasses. And I talked to Gail, we can limit the inventory in the system so that when we get low, we know that we're running low by a run of calculations in the computer system, and we actually physically can't sell over 200, but that would allow us to overstock both ends and we wouldn't have to run back and forth. I personally ran back and forth 3 times, so I don't think that we need to be limiting our supplies in this way. And then if we had extra wristbands, we could just use them for the next event. I don't think it is a waste of wristbands, and I don't think it's a waste of time to.
And
Tools.
I had several people, I had to pull their wristbands off because it was too tight or it bothered them. So I don't want to limit
Oh.
wristbands, because there was people that I literally had to pull theirs off, throw it away and put a new one on them. So just
And
so
I
you
think
know,
The wristbands
that-
don't ever go bad, but Nicole makes a
Yeah.
valid point. And we did set the limit at 170, just because of how chaotic it was for us on the pre-registration end. The problem with, we have to have at least a number of supplies down at pre-registration to accommodate the number of pre-registered guests. And
Exactly.
then
but they
Well, we
also
were-
checked in pre-registered at the other table too.
But we weren't getting that information. So we got, initially at the beginning, we got some kind of trickled in. But then, when you guys were leaving, when Donna, when you and Nicole were leaving, you came down with the list and there was a whole ton on there that we didn't know about that we were waiting for. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
so that's
they
why the
often check in
communication-
on either side depending on where they park. We've
Yeah.
never limited and said only this is.
No, I agree. That's
POC
why there's
sale.
gonna be extra stashed at the art gallery. So if you guys are getting the big splurge of pre-registered down at your end, you have supplies, or we at least know that, hey, we can bring you up this many more supplies because we won't need them.
Mhm.
Kat,
And
just so
so
you know, Gail
there
was texting the names of people who checked in as they checked in live to Charlene. And Charlene and I checked it out. So I know that
It's
might
not
not
ideal.
perfectly with 2 people at the table. But
we're slammed. We were slammed.
yeah, I agree with you, you were, but I just wanted to let you know, when there's 3 or 4 people at the table, that system actually worked really well last year for us to text back and forth. Of course, it's not perfect, but as a low tech, cheap solution, it did work last year. I agree with you guys. Your table was so slammed.
I've done the pre-registration table and you need more than 2 people on it. You need at least 3 people.
100%.
100%, because you still have to check their ID and you still have to do the wristband and you still have to. So you need at least 3 people at the pre-registered table.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Yes,
That's-
that's what we had decided too.
Cool.
Very good.
Do you guys want to move on to Chalk the Block and then the plein air? Yeah.
Okay.
Kat, do you want to start on the Chalk the Block?
Sure. Ton of fun. Oh my gosh. So, and the weather was great. We had a little bit of overcast. And it was so, even though we advertised it, it was so kind of spontaneous because there was so much happening up at the
Soccer.
YMCA. There was tournaments, there was
Yeah.
at least 3 different things going on. So there was dads playing tennis that their kids came down like at 8:30. And luckily Sally and I were there and we got to know them quite well because they stayed the whole time while dads finished their tennis rounds. And but it was just like Sally had said before, a lot of the people walking by, the people driving by, the people that were waiting in between games, looking for something to do to entertain the kids. And so I don't know, Sally, if you ended up getting a final count with counting out your little chalky bags.
No.
But we had from like in front of the Math Olympics place down to past the YMCA covered in chalk.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so it was really, really good. And, people just came down and sat on the grass and ate and watched the kids draw. Some people definitely got into it and came with their little tape rolls and their own like tins of chalk of their own, so they're
Oh, that's kind of neat.
some people in that. And then of course the highlight is after the fire department finished their inspections, they were able to come down after 12 and hose down. So
What? They removed them all? No.
Yeah.
That's sad.
it was a request because of the graffiti issue last year.
Well, yeah, last year that was,
Yeah.
it was
There were
interesting.
issues last year.
It was interesting last year. Hey, do you think we'll continue to do it in July? I know we planned in June, but I think our
the
chances
weather-
of better weather is always going to be in July. But I had a thought because I mean, I'm grateful that we had that tournament and all that activity that was happening right next door to me because, well, I got to hear it all weekend. It was wonderful. But what about the 4th of July having the Chalk the Block event during the day?
Before they have the fireworks.
Yeah, because there's like all the people are out there with the whatever is happening, food trucks and everything. It's just a thought.
Yeah, no, and I had also thought that it's such a low overhead event. And the parents were so grateful
Mhm.
that, I mean, why do we have to limit it to 1? I mean, maybe next year we could do 2, like July and August or something like that. And
Yeah.
it's just, it's just getting the manpower out there but yeah, so I mean, it's not big preparation for the Arts Commission or, anything like that. And like I said, the overhead flow and the community positive feedback is quite great.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, it was about
Anything
the
else,
same number.
Sally?
Yeah, I would say it was about, and I don't have a final number. I can't find it in my folder. I do have it. But it was about the same number as we had last year. it would have, so Kat and I, Michelle came up for a little bit, but having another warm body up there would be good, so that there was somebody working with the kids, handing out chalk, and then talking about community events. Just most of the people had never seen the flyers, the popsicle, had never seen any of that. So I was handing those. Kat had extras. We were handing them out to everybody.
And
Oh, that's
I'm going to, I have some in my vehicle and I'm going to put them up on the ridge because the ridge is where a lot of
I've
the
got
kids are.
more of the postcards. They came in, and last year, Sally, it was you and me and Sally
Yep.
there, and I think 3 people is the magic number. And I think it's what you're all saying is it's an easy event. It's good community spirit. It's a good way to promote the Arts
It is
Commission and the
just
kids.
fun.
It's fun. And we can think about it as time goes on, but the 4th of July is not a bad idea. Because there's you could just join that event, or you could do it separately, just so that there's yet one more thing for people to do, in the summer in the community. The ROA is also very interested in trying to become more involved. So, which is the homeowners
Wow.
association, we could do something. And then there is another event coming up. This block party is coming back reinvented on September 10th, which I think that it would be a good opportunity to, if you guys were up to it and had the people to do it, that would be nice to do. It's a longer event, but anyhow, we could
And
talk.
that's for the
That downtown or
ROA.
on the ridge?
What was that?
The block party, is it downtown or on the ridge?
It's on the ridge. It's something that they did for many years and it went away, and they're bringing it back. I
It
think,
was on.
That's
Central.
cool.
It was they closed Center down.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's where we did the chocolate block. And then we didn't have the artist Barb, who was there last year. But Kat did some very beautiful drawings.
Hey, if you can get me down on my knees on a sidewalk, making pictures and drawing with kids, that's pretty amazing.
I have pictures. So that's the other, do you want the pictures for the city Facebook site, or do you want me to just go ahead and put them? I just have pictures of all, with no kids, but with all the artwork.
If
that
you
the kids
send
did.
them to me, I can put them on like
Okay.
Instagram and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah, you can
Okay.
text them to me.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So-
Nicole, do you want the pictures of the fire department hosing down too?
Yeah, Kat, if you can email or text those to me, that'd be great. And I can do a
So
follow-up.
sad to see the.
Sorry, I was on
Oh,
vacation
my
last week, so I
husband was
kind of
so disappointed.
was out of that loop.
I had chalked the block and he had an appointment and we got there at 1:34.
No,
Hose down.
It was clean.
okay.
So are
What's
we
next?
on to plan here? So where are we with that? What do we need to jump in or help with or answer or? Excuse
I
me.
want to tell Donna and Nicole that I have the draft from the designer. I just haven't had a chance to get through it today, but I'm going to try to get through it tomorrow with the changes that he made.
On the flyer.
The flyer. And then the other thing I was going to ask you guys that Nicole and Donna asked, which was such a great question, and that was, and looking at the past postcard, questions would go to info at, which goes through our communications department. So I'm happy to just to put my email on it, and I can forward those on if you guys are good with that.
That's very kind of you. Thank you, Nicole.
Okay, you guys are okay with that?
Mhm.
Okay, and then, what was your other questions? I think that was your only, the prizes, I think that was fine, the money. I can work with you guys. I can work with you guys offline from this meeting. I just wanted to let you know that I'll get that to you.
Yeah, so Donna and I met with Nicole and Dylan, and Donna, if you don't mind, do you want to do a quick summary for everyone? Or do you?
Of the event.
Yeah, just of the event, maybe our quick.
Okay, there is, we do want to get registration online. And I think Dylan, you had mentioned that we could set something up within the city website for registration of artists.
I think it's possible still. I'm waiting on their response.
Okay, so pretty much what we've decided is we are going to go with a community theme. And our theme is rivers and railroads, or railroads and rivers. It's one or the other. I'm not sure. I think it's rivers and railroads. Anyway, so we're going to have 2 locations, and where the artists can go and set up. We want to go back to a traditional plein air event where it's artists that are as a community painting together. So to go with the community theme of rivers and railroads, we've selected the boardwalk area, which is where our railroads are, and then the Park Street River Bend, which is the newly developed area, which has beautiful riverfront area that people can go and paint. We're gonna have, for the artists, we're going to set them up so that they are, they would sign in between like 9 and noon, but they need to be done and turn in at 2 o'clock at the gazebo for viewing. I think it was turn in around 2:30, and then we would have it set there for viewing for the general public. They can come and view the artwork, and there will be a selection of 3 top paintings that we will then have in the pharmacy window for the next 2.5 weeks. I think it's 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks. Thankfully, a wine walk happens the following Friday, where QR codes will be for people to do voting. And then that will select our first, second, and third place winners. I'm trying to remember. So we'll be set up in the gazebo for check-in. That will be the viewing area. And then the artists that are not selected for top 3 will take their paintings home with them and so on. So we do need to get a stamp, I guess, and signage for our location.
I wouldn't assume.
Did I cover everything, Nicole Hansen? I feel like I left some stuff out.
I have it.
I think that's the overview.
I don't know what it is, but I know- I know.
Overview-wise, yeah.
So a couple questions. So are you on setup? So you're wanting, Don, I think you were here when we set up in the gazebo before. You wanted to go up into the gazebo?
I was not here before.
Oh, you were not here? Okay.
No,
so you-
I've never done this event. I'm gonna
Yeah, you did
take
it.
that
with-
notion out of everybody's head.
COVID. Well, you did it during, help Sally during COVID. So yeah.
I hope Sally set up the pharmacy window. That was
Oh, I
my-
thought you were, so I always thought you were more involved. Were you thinking of setting up inside the gazebo area? Or in front of the, I mean, what's your,
I was thinking inside the gazebo, whatever lets us
It's shaded.
use it.
Yeah, I think inside is shaded.
okay, and then that's where you want the artists to turn, can't say that, to turn in their work is up inside the gazebo. And the reason why I'm asking is the Railroad Museum will do an event around the gazebo, and sometimes they will use the gazebo for musicians off and on. They're not using it full time, but so just so I can tell them, here's when we're gonna be there.
Okay.
So we can from 9 to, you're saying from sign in 9 to 12 and then 2:30 to come back
Yeah,
and
from
drop off.
2:30 to 3:30 or something.
Okay,
But we when
Okay.
when they're coming in to register, we only just need a table and chair. We
Right,
don't need
right.
the entire gazebo. But from 2:30, we wouldn't mind the gazebo because let's pretend we have 20 artists.
Mm-hmm.
They already have easels, so we don't need to supply them those. They would set up their easel, put their painting, and let the general population. The other
Oh,
thing
that's
we are gonna do is because that's also during railroad days, is hand out to the community the 2 locations that the artists will be at so that they can go and watch the artists in action and kind of give a little description of what plein air is and what it means. So we want to give out flyers to the community describing plein air, the location, also that there will be viewing at the gazebo and what time.
now, are you thinking the flyers to be handed out before the event?
The day of the event, but
Okay.
before also, if so
That
choose,
was-
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be good.
What was the other one that it comes to, a lot of artists in the past, or a handful of them, will turn in more than one piece of art. So are you thinking that it's okay for somebody to turn in 2 to 3 pieces, or everyone should turn in 1 piece?
I did not think about that one, so I don't know.
So,
I think-
yeah, and I
have no
Anything
passion about
from-
this one way or another, by the way. So
They're best
that was
friends.
my answer. If they want to
Friends,
turn in
best
5,
friends.
as long as they're good, there's still only gonna be 1 winner.
Nicole, what's your thought?
My thought is that we stamp one canvas. If they want to paint 5 canvases during the day, that's up to them, but they're only bringing one back to us.
Hey, Sally, Peggy Barchi from the Railroad Museum said that they will not be using the gazebo, that
Okay.
we had access to that.
Wonderful.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you, Kat.
Cool. That works.
One question we had, we also met with Britt, who is a plein air participant and also teaches plein air and all of that. And she had a lot of really good ideas. But one of the questions, because she was like, well, are you going to do an online registration fee? Do you have a budget to do like a little apron? Because a lot of plein air artists really like to get something that says where they participated in, like a painter's apron that maybe says Snoqualmie, plein air arts commission or something like that. And do we have a budget for such a thing? So it was just little thoughts and ideas that she put in our head for possible next year's event, putting something together that's a little bit more structured and more artist centric, kind of supporting the art community, as well as really teaching our community what a plein air event really is, because not your average Joe knows what plein air means. So
I feel like we have the budget for
I
the
was gonna say,
aprons.
I
Are
thought
you
so.
thinking yes? I mean, if they were generic, like not dated, like let's say you got a price point where if you order
Right.
50, then we could have them for a few years.
oh yeah,
but
I wouldn't put
I
a
don't-
date on it, but maybe Snoqualmie plein air event and something about the Arts Council or something. Just something little, she says, really gets people to really come out and be a part of those events.
So
For some
Nicole,
reason, people love free stuff.
so Nicole, if we did something like that, does the city graphic designer help us put something together with the art commission logo and that's something that said Snoqualmie plein air? That's my first
Yeah.
question. And my
Yeah.
follow-up question would be, then do we use a third-party printer like Printful, or do we have like a relationship with Dark Horse Ink, or how does that work?
I was thinking Dark Horse Ink too, Nicole, you were in my mind. I mean, I think that we could do a very simple design or the Snoqualmie plein air from the designer and then Dark Horse. Yeah.
I think that'd be very cool. So typically painters' aprons are black, so we could just do simple one color screens with white ink.
Mhm.
And I think it would be very cool. Artists keep these things and wear them all over. And I think it'd be great for our city and for our event because they can wear them to other plein air events. So I think it's a cool idea.
That's a great idea.
Okay.
And then we had a couple of questions because I'm again not certain, but prizes in prior year. Does anybody know what those typically were?
I want to say, and I want to say it was 300 for the
It's
first
in
place.
300 for
And
first
two-
place and 200 and
200 for
100 for second and third.
Yeah.
But what did they
Okay.
get?
I
It
think
can't be cash. Is it cash?
No, it was a
Maybe
gift
you got a gift card.
certificate to Dick Blick's.
To what?
Dick Blick's. Is that this, what's this art store in Seattle? Isn't it Dick Blick's or is it? No, it's
Dakota closed.
Daniel's closed.
Daniel's closed. They're no longer open to retail. Dakota and Ballard also closed. They're only in Bellingham now. So it would probably have
Oh.
to be Dick Blick's. I don't know who else is near here. I know a couple in Edmonds, but nothing that's close.
It's something like the Ben Franklin in Redmond. They have quite a bit of stuff. Would that be?
It might not
Is
be
good?
high enough.
I
So
don't
these
know,
were
but I'm not a
typically
painter.
gift certificates we gave the artists.
Maybe digital, just like an online website. The company.
Well, that's
uses.
what I was
That's what I
thinking.
was
We do
just-
online.
Yeah, would that work? Nicole was just doing it online to Daniel's.
We
Or
can't,
they're,
Daniels doesn't do retail anymore.
oh, they don't, okay, gotcha. They don't read, they're not just closed. They don't.
Daniel
okay,
Smith,
gotcha.
yeah, Daniel Smith, yeah, they don't do retail. I mean, unless you're talking about a different place, but I think you're talking about Daniel Smith.
Yeah,
who's a
Daniel
print
Smith, yes, that's what I'm
manufacturer.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't do a retail version anymore.
Well, where do you buy your art supplies?
Amazon.
No, I actually drive really far. I used to go to Dakota and now I drive really far to a place in Edmonds, but that's because I use professional quality supplies. Hobby Lobby, even though it's a craft store, has some amateur supplies and some professional supplies. I think I need to think about it. If we're going to do it online, it could be Dick Blick, it could be you know, I don't know if we have a Jerry's in this area, so I can help us think about it. How did we just contact them directly? How did we get those before?
Yeah, it literally was a gift certificate that was handed to the artist.
But does the city pay for it, or does the art store,
The Arts Commission does.
the Arts Commission pays for it? So we need them in what values?
300, 200, and 100.
Okay, I'll find a store, Nicole.
Okay, take a peek at Ben Franklin and Redmond. They
Okay,
have great stuff. I
I've been
mean,
in there forever.
and we're losing those kinds of stores
Yeah.
I mean, if you're thinking Hobby Lobby, I would say Ben Franklin is right.
yeah, I mean, Ben
It's a lot
Franklin would be
better.
Hobby Lobby would be my last resort because they don't have
Yeah.
enough professional quality supplies. I would rather, so I'll definitely check out Ben Franklin because I'd rather it be Blix or somewhere else. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll check Ben.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
if you
think-
can research that, that would be great.
Yeah.
One less thing, and then, okay, cool.
I'll do it, yeah.
And then the last question that Nicole and I had was artist release of the work. Do we
Yes.
gather a release from the artist so that, or do we get it from all three, or do we just the top prize because we keep that painting and then we produce the poster off of the
Yeah.
painting? So
I want to say it's a top paint. It's a painting that we produce a poster from. Because otherwise they own all the work, right? We don't take
Okay,
the
do we
one,
have-
the winner.
Do
Yeah.
we have a full release for that painting? Because we've been talking about printing coasters and giclées and a number of other things, and I'm wondering if we actually have a full release to print. and-
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, we
we
just
have-
run away really fast. They usually don't catch us.
Yeah, I think we have
Sounds good.
a full release.
Yeah.
We'll look in the files to
Who's
get
our
the-
fastest commissioner these days?
Thanks.
We need-
because I feel
Okay,
like
cool.
I like the idea, Nicole, I believe it was yours about like doing posters, but I think we could even go to bigger price points. You could be magnets, you could do, Nicole Hansen had a really great idea where, they've taken an artwork and now Nicole, you have to tell me, it's that, it looks like wood, but it's not wood, but the painting's on it. What'd you call
well,
it?
Yeah, it is wood, but it's a giclée. It's a print
Yeah.
of the painting.
So we could really take our prior winners and really expand that merchandising quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know,
I think there's opportunity there. I just feel like people are more apt to maybe buy something little like a coaster than a big print, and then framing and glass is so expensive now.
Yep,
I
I
think
would
the
agree
true
with you.
connoisseurs would do a poster, but someone who's interested, and especially maybe a tourist, might just be happy to pick up something little. So
something little like magnets and so on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would agree. And I think it's smart to do that. So
and
I
that could be
think-
a winter project. I feel like,
And I think that was everything. I think our biggest pre-event push right now is to get some advertising going and getting information out to the Plein Air Washington artists. That's a actual group of individuals that like, I don't know, they meet and do things. Get it on Nextdoor, ROA, email, Facebook, city updates, and so
And
on. So I
you-
think that's our first pre-event thing that we really need to do. And then during the event, we need a table and chair and stuff like that.
That's neat. That one's an easy stuff. Yeah, and definitely we needed to get it on the Railroad Days website. Because they have a
And
list of events and information on all the events. We just have our name up there for plein air.
I'll
I
be able
didn't
to
even know there
finalize-
was a website.
Yeah,
I'll
so
be
it's
able to
SnoqualmieDays.org.
finalize this stuff this week.
Sorry, it's Snoqualmie Days. I keep calling it Railroad Days.
SnoqualmieDays.org is the website, and if you send that to Gold Van Gerpen, he does all the graphics and stuff, and so you can go in and look what I did for the fire department.
You're right, though, you guys do it for Railroad Days.
So you can write your own blurb, and they'll put that up there, and pictures and whatever.
Okay,
But Nicole can handle that through the city, once everything is, the details are finalized on all of that and get that over there.
okay,
So that's Plein Air and where we're at.
all right.
Very good. And then, all right, so we talked this is real quick, I don't think we're doing this. Are we, we talked about doing a class beforehand. We're out of time
No.
for doing it. Got it, good.
I
Answer your
just solved
question.
that for you.
I'm good with that. All right,
I think we should
No, we
consider it
don't
for
have,
fall.
and actually, that was really a great meeting we had with Nicole and Dylan, because I, again, knew nothing about Plein Air. And, it's been a great learning journey, but the question we had was, does it have to be tied to plein air? And Nicole and Dylan, I think it was Dylan mostly, said, no, it doesn't. We can, it's just, we need to present an educational opportunity to the community. And what came out of that meeting, and that's what bullet number 4 is on our agenda, is, well, we don't really do anything on our shoulder seasons. We don't do anything really in the spring. We don't do anything really in the fall. Maybe there's an opportunity to be doing something in the fall, which we, do our educational opportunity for our community to bring art to Snoqualmie. It can be like somebody who does incredibly ornate pumpkin carving in October, and they're going to do a thing in the Snoqualmie library up here, or I think it's we can expand this out a bit, and let's open it up for discussion to the group. I mean, what our thoughts are.
Yeah, it is totally, I mean, it's totally open. I was just gonna say, even the plein air posters, those don't have to look the same as they have in the past. I mean, that can be changed too. There's nothing is really set in stone.
But in terms of doing some kind of thing in the fall for the community, for some kind of class, or I mean, we can, I think, Nicole, you said knitting?
Yeah,
Knitting can be an art.
I know, I'm so kind of, I like the way you say that.
I
You're funny, Donna. You're like, knitting? Yeah, something like that. Or, last year during the trick-or-treating thing, the gallery just put out this glass fused art thing. Like the kids did something on the table and then they went in and
Oh, how
fused it.
fun.
Yeah, I was so glad that they did it, because especially with, 2021 and not having a lot of things to do. So, let's get through the summer, and then maybe we can think about something that we could do in October. Like, I know Carousel's considering trying to do like a mini pumpkin patch behind her store. Like, I think there's some energy over what we can do in October. And maybe if you guys had the stamina and the willpower, there might be something that we could coordinate. So just put your thinking caps on and we'll discuss that in September.
Yeah, I mean, there's even like, the little turkeys, the making little things. I don't know. I'm just thinking about kids and family, and the fall season is kind of a nice time for, being at home, doing little something crafty, and we could put something together for the community.
Yeah, that's great. And I'd like to get the schools involved somehow, not have it just be for the community, just for the people who are right around here that get that information, but to have it be sprinkled into the schools.
Oh, yeah, we can tap into the school communications. Yeah,
I would like that.
yeah, we can do that.
That would be great.
Okay,
Commission chair.
Chair.
So I think everybody knows, except for I never got a hold of you, Donna, nor you, Nicole Hansen. So Sally Rackets and I were co-chairing the commission. In the thought of me taking it over, I will not be here. We are moving as well. We don't have a time limit at the moment, but our house is on the market. So the chair position is open for anybody who is interested in it. And it does not have to be run like Sally and I ran it by any means. I mean, everything is open.
Where are you moving to?
Don't know yet. So we were, Kevin's mother has lung cancer, never smoked, also has lung cancer. So the thought is to move closer to them. They're in New Orleans, but not be in New Orleans, just close enough. So the initial thought was to Tulsa, which is where we met, and where Kevin has a lot of friends still. So that was one thought. And then he had an interview when we were coming back from Jamaica, had an interview there, and that was for a job in Dallas. So it'd either be Tulsa, Dallas, or it'd be Tulsa and Dallas. So at this point, I am just going with the flow, and whatever happens, happens. So.
Wow, that's big.
Kind of crazy.
You're totally moving out of state. How is Kevin?
Kevin is good. He's just working away.
I miss him.
Yep. Yes, Don and Kevin go back, way back.
Oh, we're dance partners, right? Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Well, so I did sort of know that news last month, but it wasn't my story to tell, which was kind of why I said that
She's
Sally-
looking at me saying, okay,
Sally
say
wasn't
something.
supposed to be, wasn't.
She said Sally's not a viable option, which we
Yeah.
all took to mean
That's-
other
yeah.
things.
And I also feel like we're kind of needing to wind this meeting down. So maybe we table, now that we all know the full story, maybe people take some time to process that. And then maybe we table this vote for the next month. Does that seem fair?
Well, my only question is, I feel like we tabled this conversation so we could have like more information about what this role is supposed to look like. Am I the only person who, if I'm the only person who felt like that was part of the discussion this month, then it might just be me.
Is there a job, any written description on the, I didn't think so.
I'm only asking so we know what we're thinking about.
Yeah.
I can explain it if you'd like, but.
No, you don't have to, Dylan, if there's nothing. Maybe I'm the only person who thought that for some reason, that I thought we were.
I think, no, if I recall, I think we needed to have Sally here to have a better conversation, as well as a better understanding of what the role means. And because I think we can all agree, Sally Rackets took on a whole lot.
Right.
And it feels intimidating for anybody to
Correct.
say, oh, I can take that on because I got a full-time job and a dog that's dying. And I'm like, I don't know if I could.
On your note, that's kind of where the one meeting way back, I had commented saying, hey, we want, can people kind of be leads on various projects? So it's not one person trying to manage all of it. That's kind of where that starting point was, because one person
Right.
should be doing it. And she had done it so long, it was just natural for her, but it was a lot of
Right.
work either way.
Well, and kudos to her. I mean, I'm not casting any kind of stone
Yeah.
on it, because
No,
is
that was her
impressive.
passion.
It was her passion and so on. So I think for Nicole Hansen's point, it's more of a really kind of bringing it back into, what does this role really in its essence do? And what is its responsibilities? And, that kind of, I think, because it's really vague, because Sally Rackets left such a big impression of like what the role is.
So, real quick, in the simplest terms, in like code language, the requirement essentially is to be the chair in terms of how Robert's rules is played out through the formal structure of this commission. And that more or less only entails managing the meeting and coordinating and like keeping the goals and objectives of the group on point. So the goals and objectives will be created by the group, and then in theory, the chair has to try to help keep that on. They also will like manage the meeting to make sure we're not running over time, calling on people technically, that type of thing. But
And because-
this group is informal, so it's not such a strict rule.
Yeah.
We're not going to like argue and like have someone call something into question on us or something. It's so in that sense, it's way more down in the energy level and in intensity. The informal side is the part that is not required. That is up to the commissioner or the chair to decide how much role do they really want to play in being the leader of the group. In a sense, they don't have to be some sort of superhero arts commissioner. They could just be a person that makes sure that the meeting is being held. They're there, they're calling on people, they're making sure the flow of the meeting is taking place, and that there's an organization in that way. But they don't have to be the leader of every single aspect of the Arts Commission.
And Dylan, because this isn't a 501c3, like beyond Robert's rules, there's no bylaws, literally, there's no other written direction.
There's bylaws. There is literally a code section for this commission. They have to follow a couple details, but it's very simple.
Very vague.
It's the Arts Commission works to create and procure and protect art and art related facilities, and it's something like that.
But there's
Got it.
nothing in there that says you have to do 5 wine walks a year and you have to do this and you have to do that. And I think that
Got
this is a time of transition. All groups, companies go through transition, and we lost a leader who had some, it was natural to her, and there was tradition and there were things in place, and things go through, they evolve.
So maybe in November, when we bring that retreat back, that always happens, that's when you guys can look at the year ahead and go, what do we want to do? You know, how do we want to spend our time? Are 3 wine walks taxing? You know, it's a lot of work. Are we diluting the critical mass? Is 1 or 2 wine walks better things to do? Do we want to do 2 chalk the blocks? You know, we liked how plein air. So, you know, that's where I can see this group going, is changing a bit and doing what you want and what you're passionate about, not because it's always been done that way.
Thank you, Dylan. Can you just send us the link? Because you guys, I mean, Nicole made a good point that we're getting close to our time and I don't want to keep everyone just because I want to.
Yeah, I've got to get to city council.
So, Dylan, if you don't
No,
mind.
those are all very, very helpful. And I think it to close on number 6, I think in November, we should really take a look at bandwidth and maybe we're missing opportunities to bring more education to the community, to bring more to our retailers as well as to schools. I heard you, Michelle, about, are we so absorbed in just what we've done historically that we're really missing some of our opportunities? And I think that there's really something to be said about in the retreat, coming with ideas and coming with, I feel passionate about music, and we're an arts commission. Music is art,
Knitting is art. Just kidding.
Exactly. Nicole has a passion for this knitting. We got to get it out there. But I mean, we
I'm
really stayed
teasing, I'm
focused on
teasing.
wine walks and just painting. But I think that we could
I mean, some
could
cities,
evolve a bit.
have poet laureates, they designate who their poet laureates are. I mean, there's different
Yeah.
things that people do. So,
We can broaden our scope on what art is.
I just want to say one more thing. I want to say thank you to Mark for joining us and being patient with all of us. And you just heard Sally's moving. So if you want to join us, please let Nicole Weeby or Dylan Gamble. But thank you for coming. Oh, you're on mute, Mark.
You're on mute. Unmute. We want to hear you from you.
So
That's okay. We all do it. He's like, how? Go to the bottom.
Okay, there we go.
There you
All
are.
right. I'm
Thanks for
sorry.
coming.
So yes, I would like to participate in the future, and especially because it sounds like you have a transition, and it might be interesting to talk about, what is the vision, and that I think it would be fun to participate in that. So yes, I'd be interested.
okay.
Oh, good.
So Mark, what you can do is if you go to the city website on the Arts Commission page, there's a link to being commission members and there's a form. Dylan did point out though, Ernie's Grove is outside the city limits. I don't know when your house would be built, but we'd love to have you until you,
Well, I'm actually on the ridge right now. I'm renting.
yeah, that's perfect.
And then it takes about 9 months to get permits and then a year to build, but
Yeah,
I just
there you go.
hired an architect. I'm excited about it.
That's awesome. Okay, so yeah,
Wonderful.
just go to the website. I would say then, do we want to move the committee chair thing to the next month and let
Yep.
you guys percolate on that? And Dylan will send that link and,
I've sent you 2 things. One, that is the city's code, which doesn't say anything about a chair. And the second, which is a thing called Jurassic Parliament, which we actually did recently. And it describes what the chair does in Robert's Rules of Order. And so it's, again, like I said, it's not a whole heck of a lot in the legal sense, what's required. What is expected by your fellow commissioners, that's your own thing to deal with in terms of what you think that means.
I think I have the description of what the Arts Commission, the objective is, so I can find that. I had to look at that for earlier, so I can send that out to everyone too.
I just sent it. It's
You got
part of
this- It's part of that?
it's part of this Snoqualmie Municipal
Oh, okay,
Code.
okay,
Thank you.
cool. All right,
Thank you.
I think we're adjourned for the evening.
all right.
All right, thank
Till
you.
next time.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks so
Good
much.
work, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Good night, guys.
I'll email you after the meeting. All right, thank
Okay.
you.
Perfect.
Take care, Kat.